Good morning, Yaki. We're going to look at a paper today, the May 2025 paper for the IEB, and this is question 1, but it's part B. It is the creditors reconciliation question that we're going to look at.
Okay, this is quite an interesting question. Easy to do, but there are a few catches in here that we have to be on the lookout for. Right, so let's see, where do we start normally?
Well, let's look at the information. The business that we are doing this for is called the Karaoke Club. So that is the business. The Karaoke Club is the one with the creditors ledger, where they are recording all their transactions with their supplier. They have only one supplier because it says there, the following information pertains to the only creditor of the Karaoke Club. So just to confirm and just to recap, if you look at the answer booklet, you have entries here where you're going to show what it is that you're going to adjust or show your calculations. The creditors ledger column will be where the Karaoke Club needs to make changes to their particular books. And the creditors reconciliation statement is for
the statement from the creditor.
Yes.
Okay.
And what do we have to do? What is the big mystery that we need to solve here?
In this case, normally they give us both the balances at the beginning, those incorrect opening balances. This case, they did not. So that's one of the mysteries that we have to solve. And then we have to see whether we can get to the correct balance in the end. And then we'll have to work backwards, I think.
Yes, to get to the incorrect opening balances. So the whole point of a creditors recon, though, is to make sure that our creditors ledger agrees entirely with the creditors reconciliation statement.
Dawn, another question that often pops up. Why do we do this?
Now, that is a good question.
Reason? Why do we do it?
Yeah, what is the point of that? That's a very good question. Yeah. What are some of the reasons?
One reason would be if my creditor sent me an account and say I owe him 203,000 Rand, and in my books I only say 100,000 Rand, then I'll be starting to panic. So we need to find out whether that is the correct amount. We can't just pay it before we haven't reconciled.
And verify that that is indeed what we actually owe. So you do a creditors reconciliation to avoid paying the wrong amount to your supplier.
Exactly.
Yes. And what else do we avoid? If we are not keeping up to date with what we owe, what are we avoiding? We are avoiding being charged interest. Yes, on overdue amounts. Yeah. Yes. And the other thing that we can find out is maybe we're doing our jobs badly. Maybe one of our clerks is not entering all the tax invoices in, not doing the payments correctly. So we can easily uncover fraud perhaps in our own business.
We can. It's a good control system for that.
Yes, very good. And likewise, you can pick up something fraudulent happening on the creditor's side as well. Perhaps he's got an employer up to dodgy dealings.
Yeah, that can happen.
So very important to do a creditors reconciliation as an excellent internal control measure. Right, so let's get back to it. Number 1, it says the creditor's ledger account had a balance of, we don't know, a question mark on the 31st of May, before any of the transactions below were recorded. So we already know that we don't know what the creditor's ledger balance is at the beginning of our question. That is an unknown. Number 2, the statement of account that was received dated the 25th of May. It's interesting that they mention the date. Why would they do that?
That would be interesting because there can be a time lapse between when we enter stuff in our book and when the account is sent.
Yes.
So that can be the reason for missing information.
Yes, because there's quite a few days missing here. You've got the 25th, the 26th, the 27th, 28th, 29th, 30, and there's 31 days in May. Yeah, so there's a good 5 or 6 days where information could be missing from the statement of account just because they sent out their statement before we had finished our creditor's ledger.
That's true.
Okay, perfect. Right, so with number 3, it says an invoice for 45,000 Rand on the 8th of May was omitted, which means it was left out of our books, the creditors journal, the Karaoke Club's creditors journal. So we haven't recorded that. So where should that be recorded then?
That must go to the creditors ledger.
Yes.
Because it was not in our books.
And it increases what we owe our supplier.
Yeah.
Then it says the creditor allocated the invoice to a different customer, but will correct it in June 2025. So both of us have made a mistake. We as the Karaoke Club didn't record the invoice, and our supplier allocated the same invoice to a different customer.
So both the columns need to be worked in.
Yes.
Okay, so
Right.
now what are we going to do here? That will be invoice. Our creditors ledger should become more.
Yes.
45. Now, they put it in a different person's account, but it should be in our account. So it's also 45 plus.
Okay, so both of them will have an increase of 45,000 Rand on that particular.
That's it.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, number 4.
Okay, the cash payment journal for May had a creditors control total of 263,700, but was incorrectly entered in the creditors control account in the general ledger as 296,100. There.
Okay, so
There's a trick.
There's a trick. Be careful. They're not talking about an individual entry inside the cash payments journal where we are paying our creditor. When you talk about the creditor's control, you are talking about totals.
Yes.
Totals from the column, the total of the column for the payments made to the creditor's control is understated. Or did they overstate it? It was 263,700. That is the correct total. It was incorrectly entered at a much higher value. So the wrong total was transferred. Now, it's very important that you understand that when you work with totals, we're not dealing with an individual creditor's ledger. So only the creditor's control is incorrect, which is in the general journal. So this does not apply to a creditor's reconciliation.
Yes.
A creditor's reconciliation is uniquely for entries that only relate to a specific creditor, not the total columns in any of the journals.
That's true. So that one goes to the no effect column.
Yes, and they've sneakily put in a column there. So it's not, you actually have to demonstrate that you understand that that particular entry for number 4 has no effect on the creditor's ledger and no effect on the creditor's reconciliation statement
must
either.
Put that little X in there or that little cross, because otherwise the examiner will think, oh, they didn't know, and they will just mark it wrong.
Yes.
So they must indicate.
Yes, definitely. Number 5, a payment of 75,240 Rand was made on the last day of May via an EFT to take advantage of a 5% discount offer. So as soon as I read that, this is how much I paid. This was after a 5% discount. So get the maths right. Yes. So this is actually 95% of the debt that we had paid. So please bear that in mind. It's going to be important. Now it says the statement of account does not reflect this payment, nor does it reflect the discount. So there's a timing difference.
Yes. So now we need to find out what was the original amount or the total amount that we paid.
Well, we know how much we paid. We need what was the total debt that we were settling. So we need the amount that we paid, plus we need the discount. Yes. We have the amount paid. We don't have the discount, the numerical value. We just know what percentage it is. So let's go and do that calculation over here. Oh, goodness, I've forgotten what the amount is. 75,240. Okay, so 75,240 is 95%. So you will divide by what you are, which is 95, and times by what you want to be, which is 100%, so that we get the total amount that is owing. With the percentage, well, the 5% included. So if you put that on your calculator, what do you get there?
That gives me 79,200.
Right. So that's the total amount paid with the discount that was not recorded on the creditor's reconciliation statement. And again, why did they not record it? Because the payment was made on the 31st and they'd already sent out their statements on the 25th. So there is a timing difference.
And it must be a negative figure because it was a payment made, so you owe them less.
Great. Right, we finished with this page. So let's move along to the next set. Number 6. Hein, the owner of Karaoke Club, ordered karaoke backtracks, etc., for 63,000 Rand for his wife's private 40th birthday party coming up in June. Is there anything wrong with the owner buying something from a supplier for the business that's for personal use? Is there anything wrong with that?
As long as he records it as a drawing and not as on the business's account.
Yes, exactly. That's actually a GARP principle. It's called your business entity rule. Yes, private expenses cannot be recorded as business expenses. So nothing unethical happened here because it says It was correctly recorded as drawings in the creditors' journal by the karaoke club. So great. The karaoke club has done everything correct. But the supplier incorrectly opened a new account or a separate account called Heinz Stores. The owner wanted to go through the name of the karaoke club business, not in a different account. So the supplier needs to correct this in June 2025. So essentially what's happened is that the invoice is not showing on the statement of account, but it is showing in the creditor's journal, and the supplier will make sure it gets transferred to the correct supplier, debtor account in the following month. Right, so that is 63,000 Rand that the supplier then needs to add. Yes. Okay, so that was that drawings, just so we've got some kind of reference as to what it is that we were adjusting. Yeah, it just
helps to do that.
Yeah, great. Okay. Number 7, let's have a look. An entry in the creditor's journal was understated by 61,200. Now, interesting that the examiner uses the word entry. She doesn't say, or he doesn't say, that it is the total of the creditor's journal that was understated.
Yes.
Because if they had said the total,
it will again affect the control account.
Which means it would have been a no entry.
Yes.
But it does say an entry. So a specific entry was incorrect, which will affect then our creditor's ledger. It was understated by an amount of 61,200 Rand. So understated means lower than what it should have been, lower by 61,200. A creditor's journal always increases what we owe our supplier, so therefore this amount must be added.
That is correct. And what I also want to say here is the students must also remember whether they give you the amount of the understatement or whether they give you the two different amounts, and then you have to find the understated amount.
Yes, so just read very carefully.
Yeah.
Can be presented to you in so many different ways. Number 8, a return in the creditor's allowances journal of 18,450 Rand was posted to the credit side of the creditor's ledger account. Now, this confuses a lot of people.
Okay, they should first of all know that it's a liability and it is a minus plus account.
Yes, anything we owe our supplier is a liability, so it will decrease on the debit side and it will increase on the credit side.
Okay.
So this is a return, so it should have been on the debit side. But the problem is they posted it on the credit side, so they added 18,450 instead of subtracting 18,450. So whenever we have a situation where something has been entered on the wrong side, you need to remember to do the opposite and you need to double the amount of money.
I call that a double whammy. So that must go to the other side.
A double whammy. I like that. A double whammy on the opposite side.
Yeah, okay.
So we are going to subtract 18,450 twice.
Yes.
Okay.
You can multiply just by 2 or you can do it individually.
How much was the amount? 18,450. I can't remember what it was. 18,450
times 2, and that gives you 36,900.
36,900, and you can see I'm actually subtracting it, and I'm doing the double whammy.
The double whammy.
I'm subtracting it twice.
There we go.
Brilliant. Okay, we are doing so well. Now, number 9. After all of the above transactions were recorded, the correct creditor's control balance, very confusing this question, because now they talk about a creditor's control and gosh, it gets confusing. But what makes this question unique is the fact that there was only one supplier. So the total of the creditor's control will also be the same as the
creditor's ledger account.
Total, yes, or your creditor's list, whatever you want to call it. So 232,470. Okay, so that 232,470 is the total of my creditor's control, which is also then the total of this individual creditor's ledger, because there is only one supplier. Okay,
so the other total should also be.
Should we check it? Let's check it. Let's go. So 203670.
Yeah.
Are you adding, Mrs. Spano? Okay. 203670 plus the 45,000 minus the 79,200 plus 63,000. What do you get?
Yippee, I get 232,470.
Thank goodness for that. All right, so great. They are supposed to balance. That is indeed correct. But now we're going to use this information to work our way back up.
To that, yes.
Yeah, we're going to work in reverse. So what you would do is you would start by entering 232470 in your calculator, add back the 36,900, subtract the 61,200, subtract the 45,000. You'll notice I'm doing everything opposite to what you see there. And that gives us?
That's 163,170.
170. And that was the incorrect opening balance. Yes. Of this reconciliation. And you'll notice very big difference. So very important that we did this reconciliation to see what is the correct amount of money owing. And neither of us were correct. Not at all.
Yeah, both made mistakes. And we would have overpaid tremendously if we had to pay that amount that they said we owed them.
Yeah, absolutely true. Okay, great. That was very good. Well done.
That's a nice question.